going to go through a little bit of a journey, my story, but also giving you some tips if you want to become a CIO, right? You want to move from a tech role into management, into senior management, and then eventually work your way up into a CIO or a CTO or a CISO, a Chief Information Officer, a Chief Technology Officer, or a Chief Information Security Officer, or a CDO, a Chief Digital Officer. There's lots of chiefs, right? But I'm going to give you my story. As a CIO, I started off a long time ago in tech. And I'm going to give you some of the tips, some of the things that I learned, some of the mistakes that I made, and how I learned from those mistakes. Because here's the deal, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. I screwed up. I made some big mistakes where I brought down the entire business a few times. I dealt with lots of cyber attacks, which have not been fun, but has also helped me to become a better manager because I was able to manage my stress a lot better because of those stressful situations. So use every single opportunity, every single failure as a learning for you to become a better tech, a better IT professional, and then you'll be a better manager and then hopefully work your way up to a CIO level. You need to be able to know your network, map your network, understand all the bits and pieces. And sometimes it's really hard just to sort of get a good high-level overview of what is what. This is why I love a product called Faddom. You know, sometimes when you need to install monitoring apps and scanning apps on computers, you need to go and install an agent on every single device, and that can be really frustrating. Faddom is completely agentless application discovery and dependency mapping. It is great. Essentially, it just scans your entire network and builds a nice map of your entire network so you know exactly what is what. A full discovery of your hybrid IT infrastructure, mapping all of your servers, your hypervisors, your hyperscalers, understanding your network. Faddom will give you a view of your clustered servers by business applications so that I can see exactly what is installed and where and how they all connect together. You'll be able to see what is what so you can manage that change even better. Understand where the root cause of some problems may be, assist with migrations, assist with your disaster recovery and your business continuity plans, compliance, cybersecurity, and more. Now, being a big AI advocate, I love what's happening in AI. Future versions will also come equipped with AI, and I'm really looking forward to that. Now, here's the best thing is that it's really fairly priced, and they even offer a free forever plan down below of this video description. I've got a link to it, so go and pick it up right now. You want to become a better sysadmin? Give Faddom a shot. A lot of people finishing off their studies are going to probably go into one of two camps. They're going to go down the admin side of things, or they're going to go down the development side of things. The admin side of things, they're probably going to start off as a help desk person. Somebody that is just going in, maybe for a couple of years, 1 to 2 years, just doing help desk, answering calls, responding to teams, responding to emails, providing some basic level of IT support. Or on the development front, they're going to be getting their hands dirty on coding, programming, maybe starting to get exposed to different sorts of languages from a very basic junior developer programmer perspective, and then work their way up from there. Very unlikely that somebody's going to finish studying and all of a sudden become like a sysadmin or become a full stack developer right away. Look, it could probably happen if you're like a super crazy smart guru type of person, but for the most people, you're going to start down the bottom, do that for a couple of years, learn the stuff, and then move up from there. And a little side thing, again, this is where I've said this in lots of my videos as well before, having your own home lab, having your own learning environment at home, super important. Listening to podcasts, reading tech articles to keep your brain in tech so that you know what's going on is going to also be really helpful for you. Learning about Active Directory, you're going to be learning about Windows Server, you're going to be learning about just the basics around computer support, hardware, software, cloud, AWS, you got Azure, you got Google Cloud. All of that is going to be really important, generally over a couple of years. Now, for me, I was fortunate enough that when I finished university, I was working actually part-time while I was studying. I was working part-time as a IT tech and a salesperson in a couple of different IT shops. Just selling computer stuff, selling computers, building computers, troubleshooting, going to people's houses, setting up the tech in their homes, and removing malware and viruses from people's computers, doing that sort of stuff. And that's what I did. So then when I finished that, I was able to then get and land my first proper job. And I actually skipped the help desk piece altogether and moved straight into a level 2 role. You've got level 1, level 2, level 3, IT support. Level 1's been your help desk people. Level 2 being more now desktop support, technical support, the desktop support analysts, those sort of roles. And they're a little bit more hands-on, a little bit more experienced, know more about Active Directory. So I was able to move straight into that role because I already had done a lot of the techie sort of stuff while I was working in the shops, right? And selling bits and what have you. And it's gonna take you a long time, depends on how quickly you learn. It's gonna take some time to learn all this tech stack, because there's a lot of tech stack over there that you need to learn about. The same deal on the development front, if you're on that path, is then getting exposed to more side of stuff there. Front end, back end development, and then there's lots of languages that you're gonna be exploring in the dev space, right? So then when you move from those levels, again, it's only the next level up. You're going to get exposed to stuff that's a little bit more senior. You're going to get exposed to potentially technology such as DevOps, development and operations working together. You've got now systems administrators, systems engineers, networking people. You've got now full stack developers. You've got senior developers. I'm going to say that in general, what you may find is a help desk role. You may be, as I said, 1 to 2 years. The level 2 role, you may be in that role for about 3-4 years, depending on how good you are. But you're also having a handle here on systems administrative skills and responsibilities, where I was now working with servers. I started to work a little bit more in the cloud, dealing a lot with Exchange, with mail servers, dealing a lot with backups, really learning about storage, SAN and NAS technology, so storage area networks and network attached storages, learning about PowerShell, learning about, I used to do a lot of VB.NET stuff, but just making my life easy. Now, these are of course all technical skills, right? These are the technical skills that really, I think every CIO, every IT manager, every development manager, every infrastructure manager, all of these managers need to have all these skills. Then you've got all the other skills, right? These are now the people skills. These are the skills where you develop over time through experience, right? Not everybody is born a leader. No one just comes out of the womb and goes, hey, I'm going to go and build Tesla. Maybe. I mean, did Elon Musk he's a smart guy, maybe. But it takes time. It takes time. It takes time for you to learn how to speak to people, for you to learn how to communicate, for you to know how to do good time management, right? You're dealing with lots of competing tasks. How do you prioritize your work? It takes time to then figure out, all right, all of these pieces of the tech puzzle, how do they all fit together and in what order? So now we're talking about technology strategy. We're talking about roadmaps. You then get involved around budgeting and figuring out the numbers and how much stuff costs. Procurement, you need to now purchase the stuff. You need to work with vendors, with suppliers. There's all of these other bits that a lot of people don't learn those things when they're studying. It's how to negotiate, how to be a good change manager and bring and influence people, how to become a disruptor, right? Something that you can go in and change people's minds and shake things around for the better, or maybe for the worse for some people, but for the better, for everybody, right? These are the things that you will learn over time, and these are the skills that I highly recommend that you will need to fine tune and perfect, because if you don't have all of those skills tight, then you won't become a CIO. Learning about data is super important. So learning how data is used by the business, learning how data is managed. Of course, if you're going to be managing data, that's very important. But what is the point of you managing data if you don't actually know what the data is being used for? So how is this data making the business that you're working at better? Now, the big key light bulb moment for me is when I realized that everything that I was doing from a technology perspective wasn't just because I liked it and because I thought tech was cool, but it was ultimately to benefit the business, right? When I'm developing my strategy now, when I'm developing my roadmap, when I'm putting a new system into place, I'm putting it into place for the business sake, not for technology and what tech wants to do, but ultimately what the business is trying to do. What value, what benefit is this going to be adding to the business? Because if you don't have that in mind, you're wasting your time, right? You're wasting your time learning and putting all these systems in place if they're going to add nothing to the business, right? So that was really, really important for me. So what you'll find is as you become better at the tech side of things, start thinking about the business impact, how the business operates. Start to understand the financials of the business. Understand actually what the business does, not just what it does from a very, very basic level, but what does the business actually do? Go out and work with the people out on the floor. You know, if you're working in a site that has multiple offices or you've got different customer sites, you're doing a specific service, go out and see the workers themselves, what they do. Go and see how they use technology for their betterment. Go and ask them, how is technology going? Is it going well? Is it not going well? What issues have been experienced? How can we be doing better? Asking all of those sort of things are going to be very, very important. So really get integrated into what the business does, because ultimately a CIO is not a tech lead. They're a business lead, right? They are leading the business. They're one of the team of potentially executives. You've got lots of different executives. You've got the CEO, which is the big honcho. Then you've got a CIO. You've got maybe the CFO, the chief financial officer. You've got the COO, the operations person, etc. Right? The team of directors, the senior leadership team, the executive leadership team. There's all of the big people at the very top. They're making sure that the business is doing its thing, that it's meeting its goals, financially it's doing well, all that sort of stuff, right? So they're not just that function lead. The CIO is not just leading the technology team, but they're leading the business. They've got a responsibility for both. So they need to understand the tech, but they also need to understand the business, right? Very, very important. You're more strategy focused, less hands-on, more focused on team leadership, projects, business alignment, all of that sort of stuff. You're now doing hiring, you're doing mentoring, you're doing budgets, you're doing procurement, learning around cybersecurity, of course, being very, very important, but now you're understanding how to make sure that compliance is there from a cybersecurity perspective. You want to be strong emotionally, right? Things are going to go wrong. Make sure that you can handle those. Improve your negotiation skills. Learn how to do conflict resolution is really key, because you're going to run into people that are going to disagree with you. You're going to run into people that are difficult, customers that don't like IT, and you have to resolve those conflicts. And then ultimately have some form of presentation skills, because this is going to be very, very important. You now need to be presenting a lot more than maybe you were previously. And then once you've been doing that for a fair bit of time, you then move into the CIO position. And now you're a lot more of a visionary leader, right? You are now thinking big picture. You're now involved in the big IT strategy stuff, ensuring full business alignment, right? Making sure that the strategy aligns with the business, doing roadmaps. Of course, understanding financials is going to be really, really key. So we're not talking here just about budgets, but understanding CapEx and OpEx, capital and operational expenditure, making sure that that is crystal clear in the way that you're thinking, and thinking ahead of what the next 12 months looks like from a financial perspective. And because you're now involved in overall IT and digital transformation, you're possibly going to be presenting a lot more in meetings, potentially in senior leadership meetings in an executive level, presenting to boards, right? If you're a CIO, you're now accountable potentially to a board, set of directors, shareholders, whatever it is, and now you are accountable to them, right? Which means that you need to make sure that whatever you're delivering is going to be financially the right thing, right? You've actually got the dough, you've got the money, you've got the investment needed, and then ultimately that you can deliver it and that it's in full alignment with what the business is trying to do. You need to be an enabler, right? You need to enable the business to be able to achieve their goals. And really, without the CIO input, a lot of company visions may not actually become a reality, because technology is so ingrained and so important right now more than ever. Ultimately, every CIO has been a manager of some sort. A IT manager, they've been an IT operations manager looking after ops, an infrastructure manager looking after infrastructure, a security manager, a development manager, they've been a service delivery manager. There's lots of different managers in the IT space. They've been a manager of some sort. Then they may have then moved up to becoming an IT director. They then could be a head of technology. Then they could be a CIO. Now, the other thing that I've just got to make a little point here is not every single company is going to have a CIO, right? A small business probably will not have a CIO. A small business will probably have a CEO, And the IT person could be just an IT manager. That's it. There is no CIO. You're going to find a CIO generally in a generally a larger business is where the CIOs will sit, and they have a team of other IT leaders. So a CIO manages IT managers of all different types who then manage all of the IT people underneath them. That's sort of the hierarchy and how it works. So if you're working maybe in a small company, you maybe have an opportunity to become an IT manager and show those skills. Work at that and work at that hard. Work at that for a few years. And then look, if that company does not have the opportunity to move into a director level or into an executive level, then look for a job elsewhere as an IT manager, knowing that there's a opportunity to become a director, or into a company where there is a CIO and you can work towards that. I'm going to say as a minimum, you probably need to be an IT manager or an IT leader of some sort about 10 to 15 years. I know that sounds crazy. That's too long. That's the norm. I'm going to say that is the norm. Around 10 or so years to become a great CIO. I think. I mean, you can probably get it a lot sooner if you're like a super gun. And if you've become a CIO sooner, good job. You're in that very, very small minority. I mean, I was essentially an IT manager for about 10 years. Well, an IT manager of different roles, an IT manager, and I was an infrastructure manager, I was an operations manager, I was an SDM, I was a head of technology for a while until eventually became a CIO. But it was a long journey and a lot of learning. And I realized, honestly, 10 years ago when I first became an IT manager, and I thought, man, I've made it. Man, I could not have been a CIO back then. It took a lot of learning, a lot of experience, a lot of negative things to happen before that happened. But I used every single negative experience. Every time I got slapped on the side of the head, I learned from that and then became better, learned from that, pick yourself up. You know, that's the typical thing. You fall down, you pick yourself up, you keep going, keep learning. Don't let it push you down, right? Stay up, you're gonna do good. Hey, that's it for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully this helped you out. Let us know down below in the comments, what are you doing in tech? Where are you right now? Where do you want to go in your tech journey? Like this video as well, and we will see you on the next video.